Good morning, JHS. Today is Tuesday, February 13th, and it is an A-Day. I'm Noah.
And I'm Sam.
And you're watching the Duke Daily. Remember, candygrams are on sale through today during all lunches in front of the auditorium. Wish someone special a happy Valentine's Day for only $1. They will be delivered to second period on the 14th. Now here's a Harvard video.
Being in a relationship, or the thought of being in a relationship, it can consume a ton of time. It can consume a ton of your thoughts. How much time do you spend thinking about that person that you have a crush on, or your boyfriend, or your girlfriend, or your ex-boyfriend, or your ex-girlfriend? A lot of times in high school, you might experience your first love, or you might experience your first real heartbreak.
What's it like breaking up? Like, what's a breakup in high school like?
I feel like every high school girl will tell you it's kind of devastating, especially if it's your first real serious relationship, and that was what it was like for me. You feel like it's your first love, so obviously I was pretty heartbroken. And if I didn't have, a bunch of friends to back me up, I feel like I wouldn't have gotten through it.
So you say it's devastating.
Yes.
What does being devastated mean? Like, what did you do? How did you cope? Like, talk me through the first night of being broken up. Like, what happened?
Well, there's lots of tears, lots of tears. Lots of not talking about it. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to think about it. I broke up with him because I knew he didn't love me anymore. I knew he didn't want to be in a relationship, and he just didn't want to hurt my feelings, and I kind of wasn't okay with being with someone who wasn't going to reciprocate the same feelings that I was. And it's hard when you're more involved and more dedicated to a relationship, and it's hard to see that person not reciprocate how hard you're trying and not trying as hard as you.
So tell me the thoughts in your head about going from such a serious relationship to not having it anymore.
I made a silly mistake and kind of pushed some friends away when I was dating him, and so it was really hard not to text him or not to call him because I needed my best friend to get through a breakup like that, but my best friend is the one I broke up with, so it was really hard.
So maybe you just went through a breakup, or you need to break up with someone. The important thing to remember is it's not the end of the world. This isn't going to define you. This is an opportunity for you, an opportunity to find out who you are. Figure out what worked, figure out what didn't, and start asking yourself, what does a healthy relationship look like?
It got to a point where I would start to say no to hanging out with my friends, to hang out with him. I slacked off on schoolwork. He kind of became the main thing that was important to me. I guess that's, my parents kind of started to not like him, friends didn't like him, sister didn't like him because it felt like he was kind of becoming the main source of my time.
What kind of pressure and tension did that cause where when your family and friends and sisters stop liking your boyfriend?
I mean, I think it's hard because you want them to see him the way that you see your boyfriend. It's hard to divide all of your time up equally, and
do you feel like a lot of kids do that? Have that pressure between my friends and my
family, friends, boyfriend, I want everyone to be happy with me. But when they're all competing for the same kind of position in your life, they're all competing for your love, they're all competing for your time, your attention, your affection, and they all want the same thing, but it's hard to give an equal amount of the same thing to everyone. If you do devote your whole self to one area, that's where it becomes kind of toxic or unhealthy, because then you aren't filling up that bucket with everyone else in your life.
It got to a point where my ex-girlfriend took all the friends, all the girls off my Snapchat, my cousins, my sisters. I feel like that's too crazy. It's not that serious for you to get that deep. I mean, I shouldn't be showing other girls attention, and you shouldn't be showing other guys attention. But if that's my friend, and that's because I have girls' best friends. So if I want to like their photo, then I'm gonna like their photo because I'm showing her support on her photo because she look good. And that's my friend from a friend standpoint. High school relationship is not that serious. Some might be, but you should focus on school.
At the core of a healthy relationship, there's always balance. And for some couples, finding that, it takes time, it's hard work. But without it, the rest of your life, it can start to suffer. Being in a serious relationship, it affects the people around you, specifically your family and friends. And a healthy relationship is one where you still invest in those people. You still spend time and share experiences with them. You knew them before you started dating, and those are the relationships you're gonna take with you for the rest of your life. But a healthy relationship is one where you also invest in becoming friends with your significant other. Dating in high school is tricky. You've got to balance friendships, you've got to balance time with your family, your schoolwork, and school activities. It can be really difficult. But the truth is, some high school relationships make it, most won't. Only 2% of high school sweethearts go on to get married. And of that 2%, over 50% of those end in divorce. Why are those numbers so high? I honestly think it's because people spend so much time trying to figure out who they are as a couple before they ever understand who they are by themselves. So if you're in a relationship in high school or you want to be in one, I think the most important question you need to ask yourself is, why do I need this relationship? Am I doing it because society tells me I have to be dating someone? Am I doing it because I don't feel valued as a person and this is one way for me to feel important? Or am I doing it because I genuinely care about this person and they're who I want to spend time with? So whatever your why is, I believe the key to a healthy relationship is figuring out who you are first.
Now to celebrate Black History Month, here's a video highlighting an important history maker.
Gwendolyn was born on June 7, 1917 in Topeka, Kansas. She was a teacher, poet, and author. On May 1, 1950, she won the Pulitzer Prize for Poetry for her book Anne Allen. She was the first African American to receive the prize. She was appointed to be Poet Laureatus, someone the government hires to write poems for special occasions, to the Library of Congress in 1968. She was the first African American woman to attend the American Academy of Arts and Letters. Her father was a janitor for a music company and her mother was a school teacher and a pianist trained in classical music. When Brooks was 6, her family moved to Chicago in the Great Migration. Throughout her school years, she faced racial injustice. She never attended a 4-year college because she always knew she wanted to be a writer. When she was just 13 years old, she published her poem Eventide in a children's magazine, American Childhood. She has published approximately 75 poems by the time she was 16. A year later, she started submitting her work to Lights and Shadows, the poetry column of the Chicago Defender, an African-American newspaper. In 1941, she started taking part in poetry workshops. She died on December 3, 2000 at the age of 83 in Chicago, Illinois.
Hey Sydney, what's the weather for today?
Well, Sam, today's weather will be partly cloudy with a high of 41 and a low of 35, and Wednesday will be cloudy with a high of 60 and a low of 52, and Thursday will be cloudy with a high of 72 and a low of 60. Thank you. Now back to the desk.
Thank you, Sydney. Say, Noah, what's the hot plate for today?
Well, today's hot plate will be baked pasta, a roll, a tossed salad, and an assortment of fruit and milk.
That sounds delicious. I can't wait. But that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching. Have a great Tuesday. Remember to
Stay fresh, JHS.